Right, hi, I'm already doing the fourth episode of this sort of like mini series that I've started doing. Everybody seems to be loving it, and the comments that I've been receiving are just incredible. So let's carry on with it. I mean, this is my fourth video in 5 days, so I've never been this consistent, I don't think. I've honestly really enjoyed making these videos, and it's been really nice to just sort of like reflect and also just like relive my university days and like all of these memories. So if you haven't watched the other 3 parts of this series or this mini series, then I'll leave the link to them in the description down below. I recommend you checking them out because they're sort of like, they're somewhat chronological. I mean, the first is a bit out of place, and I wish that I did the first episode now, because actually the girl that I spoke about in that episode came after the 3 that I spoke about, and that was towards Christmas time. And the one that I'm talking about in this episode was actually after her. So if you're going to watch them, watch episode 2, then 3, then 1. As weird as that sounds, but it's how they, if you want to be chronological, that's how you watch it, ironically, because it's not chronological, because it goes 2, 3, then 1. Anyway, let's get on with the video. Right, so this story is a fair bit different in the sense that there's a lot of positivity towards asexuality in this story, and there's a lot more, it's just a much more positive story. There's no really disregard for it or just unacceptance for it. Well, there is, and we'll get onto that towards the end, and there's a reason that I'm making this video, and because there is a lot of emphasis on asexuality towards the end. But this video, there's a lot more to it than that, and you'll see as the story goes along what that is. So this story is also different because I didn't actually meet the girl in a nightclub. I didn't meet her out clubbing. I didn't meet her anything like that, okay? So that's a good start. There's somebody that keeps commenting on the videos that actually joined the live stream last night as well, who makes some really, really big points, and I think a lot of you agree with them in the sense that, you know, as an asexual, it's just weird to look at clubs when people are wanting sex and stuff like that, and I completely get you. And this is sort of like justification as to why clubs just didn't work and finding girls there just didn't work at all, and why this was a lot better. To start off with, this was a lot better because they knew about my asexuality before I ever had to come out to them. And the reason why is because they found me on YouTube. So this all started on New Year's Day, 2017. Yeah, 2017. I got a message from a random person on YouTube, and they sent this huge paragraph about how they had found my channel and everything like that, how they thought it was amazing. But it was a bit different to a normal message. This wasn't a message just from anybody. This was a message from somebody who had found my channel that I happened to go to university with, who was on my course, who had the same lectures as me. We were in the same seminars and everything like that. We knew each other. Like, I'd never actually spoken to her, but, you know, we knew of each other because we did the same course. So this message from her basically said like how she really loved the video. She found it really interesting. And she searched it up because she wasn't having any sexual desire herself. We'll get onto that later on. But that's how she found the videos, because she thought that she may have been asexual. So we didn't actually meet for like a couple of weeks after we started speaking, because she sent this message during Christmas time, obviously the 1st of January. It was still during the Christmas holiday. So I was actually back home, obviously visiting my family for that. And I wasn't actually in the city that I went to university with. So it was just quite a commute to like see her. So we decided to meet, and funnily enough, the first time that we properly met and spoke, obviously I've seen of her before, but never like a conversation. So we had our first conversation like properly in person when we met up during our lectures, and like, so I saw her in the lecture, and then we met up afterwards and just started speaking, and we were just there for the whole afternoon just speaking, and it was lovely. And then we decided to meet again the next day because we just wanted to see each other again. And we just spent the whole day together, and this became a constant theme. And I was really liking this girl, and it lasted for a while until like about like a month later, where I actually asked her to be my girlfriend. Now, I'd never had a girlfriend before. This was my first ever girlfriend. She said yes, by the way, spoilers. So this was all very new to me, and there was so many memories that I created in this relationship, and so many things that I'm so thankful for. And she was so accepting, and that was the biggest. I'd never had that before. You know, she had obviously seen my videos. She knew exactly how I felt. She knew all about asexuality in herself. But at the end of it, she wasn't actually asexual herself. She did feel sexual attraction towards me. That's important for later on. I'll get onto that. But she did feel sexual attraction towards me. It was just after a bad relationship in the past, she felt like there was a stage where she just didn't have any sexual desire. But then once she started like actually falling in love with me, which is still a crazy thought that somebody, you know, fell in love with me, she did crave sex, basically. So we were physical throughout the relationship, but nothing sexual. I'm still a virgin. I've still never had sex. We never got to that point. There was times where I tried to, because I really wanted to want sex. I just really wanted to try it at least, you know, and she was the most comfortable I've ever felt in that. You know, I was with her for months and we saw each other so often. You know, we even went to uni together. We were on the same course. So I was even able to speak to her at uni and stuff like that. And we were just so close in that sense. We did these things where like we would go to a train station and pick a random location and just go there for the day, and then like book a hotel on that day and just stay in that hotel for the night. It was just so cool. Like all of this spontaneous adventures and stuff like that. We had so much in common and it was so lovely. And that is definitely an aspect of the relationship I miss. But obviously asexuality is a prominent role, and I'll get into why. So basically the initial problem about me being asexuality wasn't actually her, it was actually her family. And it's something that I sort of didn't even take into consideration in previous like encounters with girls. So obviously like me being asexual has always been a problem in the sense that they haven't been accepting towards me and they've ended it. So before I even met their parents, but obviously with this girl, I was seeing her for months and, you know, we were boyfriend and girlfriend. So it was inevitable that I was going to like meet her parents and her family, and they had a problem with it, and they had a big problem with it. As in her mum even found it really hard to see me in real life because she just refused to accept that this was a real thing. And it got to me hugely because I really wanted to be accepted by her family because I really liked this girl and we got on so well and she was so accepting, whereas her family weren't. And you can just tell, like, if I went out on a date, like they tried to think it was okay, but you could just tell when I like went on days out or day trips. Like, for example, I went for walks and I remember on one walk with her dad, right? He would try and bring sex into the conversation to discuss it and try and subtly to discuss it because he just didn't understand it and he just wanted to. Like, I'm happy to talk about it and I'm happy to discuss it, but when it's just done in that sort of manner, just to try and like falsify asexuality, as it were, it's just, I really didn't like it. And the fact that, you know, her mum found it hard to even like meet up with me, and she was just so like, I don't think she trusted me or just didn't like me in general. For example, like my girlfriend at the time, she didn't have Facebook at all. She didn't have social media. I spoke to her on messages like text or on WhatsApp. Those are the two places. And one day I changed my profile picture on Facebook from me and her being together to just one of myself. Not for any reason. Like, the relationship was fine. The relationship was absolutely fine. But I just wanted to change my profile picture. Nothing wrong with that. And suddenly, like, I get a message from my girlfriend and saying, like, I heard that you've changed your profile picture, and from me being in it to being on your own, is something wrong? And it turned out her mum had been on my Facebook. And like, obviously I'm not even friends with her mum. I didn't even know her mum had Facebook. And she had been like checking my profile and just saw it. And like, this wasn't even like a week or so in advance or something. She's checked it on the exact same day, like when I changed it, within hours. And it was just distrust, and just didn't trust me. She didn't like me like that. But I met up with her for the first time like 5 months into the relationship or so. And you know, her mum actually saw that I was actually a decent person and that she did like me from that. Like, I had a phone call with my girlfriend then after the meal with her and her mum, and you know, even her mum just wanted to chat to me or say hello, and it's just something I never had. But then that sort of faded away again once she started realising, you know, this relationship's getting serious. My girlfriend at the time wanted kids in the future, and obviously me being asexual, not having sex, how is this going to happen, etc., etc. Just always worried, you know. So it was a problem towards the end, but not for my girlfriend. She always thought love prevailed, and it was lovely, and she was so great about everything. She never forced me into anything. She never was like that, and that was so rare, and I never ever found anyone like that. So I was really happy to. So I was actually wanting to break up with her like 7 months into the relationship, and you know, it's still not that long, but it is a long time when you're together so often, and it did feel like a lot. It was a very long time for me anyway, and I learnt a lot from it. And I actually broke up with her for completely different reasons, and there was, you know, I never thought that I would be, you know, in that situation where I was breaking up with somebody rather than a girl breaking up with me because I was asexual. It just had never occurred before. So this was really interesting and new to me. But I had to. And I mean, I won't go into the reasons in this video why I did. I'll save that for another one because, you know, it's just not related, but they were justified in my eyes. And I'm really, you know, as I say, I miss aspects about the relationship, but I would never ever go back to it ever. You know, I have no feelings for that girl anymore. I think she's married now. She's at least engaged, if not married, to another guy. But, you know, fair play to her. If she's happy, that's cool. That doesn't matter to me, honestly. So here's where the problem thing is, and this is what really affected me and actually got to me. So after I broke up with her, everything was fine, and like we were still spoke as like sort of friends for a little bit, and then it just sort of, as it does, it just fizzles out, you know, where we just don't speak anymore. And that just happened, and I was accepting that. It didn't bother me. You know, we had a good run and we ended on good terms initially. You know, we were still friends afterwards, and that was fine. I loved ending it like that. But like 4 months after we stopped speaking, I get a message from her saying that she had like been seeing this Navy guy, and that they had been having sex, and that, you know, it had made her see how much she had missed it throughout our whole relationship and how much she craved it. And like she was like thanking me for breaking up with her because she wouldn't have ever got to experience stuff like that, and she felt really deprived. And it's just like, what the fuck is the need for this message? Like, what the hell was the need? And it just, that kind of got to me, and it made me see like how shit it is being like this, and just, it really, I didn't know what to say. I honestly didn't know what to say, and I didn't expect that from her, or that a message like that, but I think that was just her, you know, coming out of love, I guess. So she didn't, like, love didn't prevail anymore, you know, sex did, because there was no love there anymore, which I get. So that's basically the story of my first relationship. I didn't go into too much detail. There's still a lot more details, but I mean, this video would be too long if I went into it. But I want to say, like, it's possible. I mean, it's possible to find somebody that just, like I kept saying, love prevails. And if somebody really loves you and somebody really, you know, wants to be with you, then sex is just you can disregard sex because it means nothing. And what we had there in our relationship and all of the adventures we have, I remember there was a comment in one of the live streams that asked me, like, how can you have a relationship without sex, or how can you be in a relationship without sex? And it's easy to be. It's so easy. There's so much more to a relationship than it, and it's hard for a lot of people, especially this age, to like sort of grasp that. And that was proof of it. And I was so thankful that this happened. I learned so much for it. So I am really thankful to the girl that actually happened. And for that 7 months of my life, it was great, and I learned so much. But obviously at the end, it was still sort of the same result. But I just wanted to make this as more of a reassurance thing, because the last 3 videos have been very negative and obviously haven't offered any reassurance at all. It's all been like, you know, if you're asexual, you're pretty much screwed in terms of relationships. You're not. It's very possible. If you want a relationship and you're asexual and you're afraid that you'll never find it, you will. It's very much possible, and I'm proof of that. If someone's going to date me, I'm sure somebody's going to date you. So thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you very soon.